All right, so we got a few guests here with us, Troy, and I guess we'll go ahead and get started. What you think?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
You ready? You ready to be in the hot seat? Because you're in the hot seat today.
That's every day.
You're comfortable in the hot seat is what it sounds like.
It's amazing what you can become accustomed to.
Oh my gosh. All right, so just for a really brief introduction, Troy, I'll let you introduce yourself. I'm Calvin with Impruver. We're a technology company here in Atlanta, Georgia. But I think we go a little further than technology, right? We're almost a full continuous improvement solutions provider that includes tech, but also includes process and coaching and consulting and all that stuff too, really. I guess we really just truly invest in the success of our customers, however it works out. So Troy Magruder here, who I like to call my first customer. Troy, you want to do a brief introduction?
Yeah, my name is Troy Magruder. I'm the Director of Operations at WTI. We're a food ingredient, food safety solutions company here in Jefferson, Georgia. I've been here probably 2.5 years, came out of the protein industry prior to that, and then the beverage industry, always in operations, a little in sales, but I found that operations definitely suits me better.
Yeah. I did not realize you were in sales before, but now that you say that, I can maybe see a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't a good salesman. I was just in sales.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Good distinction there. I appreciate that. Okay, so I met you, Troy, it's been over a year now, actually, and it's been quite a journey over the last year, would you say?
I would, yeah. I had gone to give a talk to the Manufacturing Extension Partnership at Georgia Tech,
yeah,
and got introduced to you and the Impruver system through that.
Yeah. Through Damon Nix, right, at the Georgia MEP here at Georgia Tech. Yeah. I would say it's been quite an exciting journey over the past year, from my point of view, which has been great. Actually, I've learned a ton from you and with you, I would say. And your team has also been extremely welcoming and supportive, and they really put up some good numbers over the last year. So very excited to see that and proud of what you guys have achieved in that time frame, which hopefully we can cover off some of on this call today. So
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So like I said, a year ago, we sort of clicked up and started talking. And what would you say was WTI's long-term vision as a company? Like, what were you guys looking to achieve, thinking back from the moment we got started?
At that time, we were looking at growth, essentially. Yeah. We were looking at really 3x growth over essentially a 5-year plan, and then really looking into a lot of automation things and some other. But really, we were looking at just a ton of very ambitious sales growth goals.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I think, as I understood it at the time, sales was, it was varying. It was up and down, but you definitely did not have the production capacity to satisfy 3x growth in that short a time frame, being so aggressive.
No, definitely not. It was we had the ability to absorb some of that on a very shallow slope, but it was pretty easy to see that looking forward that if sales went out and really hit some home runs, we were going to very quickly exceed what our capacity was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was the deal when I met you guys. Is we were looking mostly at production at the time, and I remember having a conversation with Mike on my first visit to the plant. We were looking at dry blending to start trialing the Impruver software and the Impruver process. And one of the things Mike came out and said was, well, we're at 80-90% efficiency in this area. I'm not sure if there's much room for improvement here, right? So. And somebody like me as an IE, of course, I look at that as a challenge, and I love a challenge. So I said, bring it. Let's see what we can do. And we did. We had a very interesting experience here. So what would you say from a continuous improvement standpoint? What was the condition of your CI program at the time? Like, what were you guys doing? What was working and what was not working so well?
Well, the name of the game for everybody is servicing our customers, and that was our goal. And now that we've put ourselves in a position to service our customers and future customers, we that was our vision. It's not where we were. We had some lean consultants in, and this was just prior to me being brought on, I guess. But just prior to engaging with Impruver, we had some very sporadic lean implementation, the basics, the things everybody does, the 5S, and that kind of thing. And there was a real confusion, even with some of the upper management of, the executive level of, there was the thought that lean equals continuous improvement, or that continuous improvement equals lean, and that was really the only thing. So we had started to deploy some of those strategies, Gemba, but there wasn't really a fully fledged continuous improvement platform. There was no template for problem solving and problem identification and root cause analysis, and no way to drive action and behavior.
Right. Yeah. So as I recall, you guys were doing, you guys had a good strategy process in place. It seemed like you guys were doing regular updates. It was hard to get a read as to how well the execution was along with that strategy, those strategy conversations. But I mean, I could definitely see that, some effort was behind it, especially from your point on operations and maintenance and QA. And I can also see that you guys are fairly disciplined around your daily Gimbal process. And I can see that a lot of companies struggle with doing daily Gimbal, but I would say, coming in, you guys clearly had a commitment to it and were actively working to get more and more out of that process. So from my point of view, that was actually pretty strong. I would say maybe there were some opportunities with, the way you were measuring productivity, the way you're, the level of analytics behind the data and being able to see your biggest opportunities. Okay. So why did you decide to try Impruver though? Like what did you see as the gap that made Impruver a good solution to satisfy?
There was a few things. One is the ease of data tracking, trending, and sort of compilation. We prior to my stint here, we didn't have a real system for collecting data, analyzing data, recognizing trends, and then engaging in some type of action to improve. This was a really simple way, at least initially, even with just the OEE portion of Impruver, to really gather that data in and say, okay, this is what it really looks like. This is how we're doing. And while that is such a small portion of kind of what we've ended up using Impruver for, it was a way to put a lot of data at our fingertips, and allow us to make some data-driven decisions. Before, and even at the beginning of the Impruver sort of engagement, we were very data poor. When we were making decisions based upon either empirical observations or things we believed we would be seeing, or everything other than firm, hard data of this is what it is. The root cause analysis process was a little broken. Yeah.
A lot of anecdotal, a lot of assumptions, best guess type work.
And luckily we had some really, really smart people who were able to do that fairly well, but there's no substitute for having the actual data in front of you and going, this is what we're seeing.
Yeah. I mean, without that, how do you get to a real science-based, culture of problem solving, decision making, and so forth? So from that time frame, I'm talking the whole year, all the way back to, I think we started like in May of 2019. What results have you guys seen, across the plant, really?
Well, we've seen quite a few. We've done essentially the very first sort of rollout of Impruver here was fairly limited, I guess you could say. We really just focused on the data collection for production performance with OEE, and then some of the problem solving aspect of it, some of the action items and that kind of thing. The very first time we rolled it out, we ended up with a very significant improvement in the area we were targeting, in the dry blend area. if I recall the numbers correctly, it was about a 96% improvement in our throughput, a 37% improvement in efficiency. It was significant, and it was them having the tool in Improver, but it was also Improver allowed them to really focus on some of the things they were doing. It gave them a systematic, formulaic template to do that. And it became easy to develop that muscle memory, and these guys really became engaged. They got excited about having some structure around our problem solving and our improvement.
So 96% in the first 90 days. What would you say? How the other 9 months go after that? Because I know you guys have been setting records almost week after week.
Yeah, it's gone pretty well. We've sort of, as we've continued to roll through a different process with expanding some of the things we're doing on the continuous improvement front, we've seen we've expanded to other areas of the plant as well, and we've seen throughput increases there of up to 81%. It's been, and that's just a straight pounds per hour number, from one day to the next, over a 13-week period. It's been these guys have, I can't say enough good things about how my team has responded to things we put in place. And it's, they like having the structure. You give them a goal and they like that.
So what's been great about that, right, is the software brought some things, right? It brought the data, it brought the action management for accountability, it brought the problem solving tools. I think it stirred up a lot of energy amongst your team and engagement amongst your team.
For sure.
Made the data more transparent. You had folks in different functions couldn't get enough data. And,
still do. We still have that.
So there's some stories behind that we'll have to cover that off at the next webcast. But I would certainly say it changed the game in your ability to have more control over your destiny in terms of the results you were producing.
The key thing I think for us was, you're right. There was a lot of tools there, but where that really started to highlight was it really allowed us to continue building the culture of continuous improvement. And we had really taken steps there, but having everybody in the building be a problem solving engine, and really getting everybody engaged in continuous improvement and making that part of our DNA. And that was really one of the biggest contributors is once you gave people the tools to do that, it made it not only empowered them, but it made it really convenient for them to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And anybody who's been in operations for any length of time at all knows that if you make something inconvenient for your staff, they're just not going to do it.
It's not going to happen, right? I mean, they don't have the capacity for it, right?
No.
I mean, fortunately, you guys got a great team, but even, I think they already want to do good work, right? They already want to hit home run improvements and shine. Just giving them the oxygen to do that was all it took, right? And the space to do that. So, no, that was great. So there's been 3 phases. Just as a quick overview, the first phase was like the 90-day process where Troy got his improver level certification, which he was driving the process. He was driving the CI project, which I give you a lot of props as a director of manufacturing. Most directors won't step into a role where they're hands-on, rolling the sleeves up, leading the project themselves.
My sleeves are up now, Calvin.
Already, I should have. Yeah, I should have known that already, right? Second phase was you actually kind of elevating into the coaching role and bringing in 3 of your supervisors into the process, production managers into their improver continuous improvement process where they're managing projects. And now you've sort of transitioned into a third phase where you're the second coach. Your supervisors or production managers are the first coach, and the leads are now kind of rolling into that CI leader role. And the certifications have sort of followed along that track.
Exactly.
So all right, let's go back. That first phase where you guys just really drove an incredible improvement, 96% in 90 days, right? That's unheard of. In my 20 years of doing this, that's unheard of. What do you think really made that happen? Like, what's the magic behind that? From a process technical standpoint, what exact improvements do you feel resulted in those numbers?
First, again, I'm going to give the credit to the teams that did it. They put in the work, regardless of what systems in place. They put in the work, and they were really passionate and engaged with the things they were doing.
Yeah.
And lighting that spark was giving them the tools at their fingertips to say, okay, here's how I can recognize my issues. Here's how I can identify solutions and root causes. Here's how I can assign accountability and follow up for that. And here's how I can track and trend that data.
Yeah.
Putting all of that in their hands and saying, okay, here's your tools. Now you can be successful, and really beginning to create that muscle memory for at least that initial team. The first 90 days was really even very limited as to the number of people who were involved in the project. And that kind of makes it even more shocking to me that the results were as good, because generally when you have a really strong CI platform, it's pervasive. It's throughout the entire organization. Everybody's involved in it, and everybody recognizes the value of it. We were fortunate to have a lot of buy-in from the executive level to support these initiatives, and that created sort of this grassroots groundswell of good work.
Engagement, yeah. So, me thinking back there too, because I was there probably once a week to engage with you guys and sort of sit in on the projects and sort of as sort of the first coach for that, along with Damon Nix. One of the things I saw was like the Gimbal process you guys had in place before, which you still have, but it's kind of matured a little more, I think, is that, it kind of showed, it was great at showing what issues you were having, over the past 24 hours. What it didn't show you was, all right, if you look at that same information, but aggregated over the past month or, 6 months even, what 2 or 3 issues is causing 90% of your problems, right?
And that was our problem. Our Gimbal process was an information conduit. There was a lot of information being passed, but it was past data. We were good at talking about our performance from the day before,
right?
And we were good at talking about problems. But that's exactly what we were good at talking about. We would have great conversations around the Gimbal board, and people would try to solve these issues at the Gimbal, and then they'd be like, okay, ready, break. And we'd walk away, and I had to pull people back and be like, that was a great conversation. What are we doing? What did we decide to do?
It's hard to put it into action because that's 4, 5, 6, 8 things coming at you every day, right?
Exactly. And there was no we weren't driving any actionable items or any behavior change that would help us improve. And it wasn't as customer facing as I thought it should be. Because at the end of the day, that's our whole purpose for being here, is to satisfy our customers' needs. And if we can do that by improving operations, then we should be. Yeah. But we would incur the same problem. Maybe we either wouldn't solve the problem, or it would disappear because we switched production runs or whatever. So we would have this thought that it was solved, and when we faced it again a few weeks or months later, people will go, well, we just talked about that.
Right.
You're right. We did just talk about it, and that's all we did. What did we actually do to solve it? And that's really how that process has evolved through both the leadership standard work and evolving that Gimbal board to be really about focusing on those issues, elevating issues to engage resources that are needed, and having the right people at those boards that can impact change, that can impact the problem, and making sure that the communication happens.
I think the thing that the Improver allows you to do is aggregate over time what your biggest, 2 or 3 issues were. So instead of chasing everything every day, you could just focus on that number one thing, right? And I think what we did was start to organize that weekly CI meeting, that weekly CI sort of focus project on the biggest bar on the Pareto chart, the first bar there. And then,
you're exactly right. That's how we're organizing our Kaizen events now is by analyzing that data Improver and going, okay, this is the data is what the data is. This is our biggest problem. let's dive into it and really root cause it and come up with some creative solutions.
Yeah, assign a leader and say, hey, your job is to knock this bar down to X, this other target condition, and then, once that team rolls off, there's another big bar that you can assign another leader to go attack. And every time you do that, you end up developing the leadership skills of the person who is working against that target.
Exactly, and that's where we are now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Okay, so you mentioned leadership standard work a little bit. Like you guys had the kind of the high level strategy in place. I think it's gotten a little better with time. The thing we did in the second phase, though, was actually strengthen the steering committee meeting, which also strengthened the weekly CI meetings, which also strengthened the daily Gimbal process. So you saw the whole sort of chain from executive level, strategic level connect a lot better all the way down to shop floor, tactical improvement, execution level.
And that's where we struggled. We had a really great vision at the top, and we had people who were very willing to execute at the bottom, but being able to drive those actions from the top through correct, proper deployment of resources and information and training and teaching and coaching and mentoring through some of the stuff, we had some broken links in the middle. Putting in the leadership standard work and determining the correct cadence and the correct attendees and the correct methodology for that really helped.
Yeah, good. So now you guys, now you're in your sort of your third wave, and you've got some leads coming through the pipeline. They're leading projects now. They're already showing great results. They're pretty close to wrapping up, I think, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So what's next for you guys? So after you sort of get, your leads to a level of proficiency in driving CI projects, what's the next wave for WTI? Where's your CI program going?
Nothing. We're absolutely quitting CI. It's been awful. I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh God, no! Don't tell me that.
It's actually what we're planning on kind of continuing that process. We've driven it through. We're planning on. We've driven it through the first level supervisors and down into some of our production leads. We've got a few more leads to work through, and we're going to start driving it down to the operator level as well. And again, the idea is that everybody is involved and has the proper tools to succeed.
Right.
Additionally, there's a few. We have a few new members on the executive level that I'm going to involve as well, so that they can expand this to their individual departments outside of operations.
That's great. That's fantastic.
The idea is just to kind of make this again part of our DNA.
And I think that's a key thing too. Is that whiteboards and 5S and operator PMs, all those great things are great for operations. But I think what Impruver has brought to you is, hey, CI is not just for operations, right? Every leader in this company can be driving CI through their own functions. The fundamentals of peak, plan, do, check, act, coaching, talent development, making improvement every day, experiment more, innovate, that applies universally throughout the enterprise. And what I was really impressed to see is how you guys have sort of, expanded that mindset, well beyond operations into some of the other functions.
Anybody who has a deliverable has something they can improve.
Absolutely. Right. And if they don't have a deliverable, they need one, right? They should have, they should be challenged to get better. Yeah. Excellent. You guys got some supervisors who are you anticipating having more second coaches certified within your executive team?
Yeah, I can't be the only one, man. This is a lot of work. I absolutely am. We're going to, again, and that'll be part of some of the executive level team that we are kind of indoctrinating now. And then at least one of the first level supervisors will be a second level coach so that he can mentor the leads as they're working through the operators.
Yeah, good. Good. I want to remind you guys, if you guys want to ask questions, now's the time to do it in the comments, and then I'll bring those in. So, Troy, you are in the running for Plant of the Year with Industry Week.
We are.
Yeah. And I've heard some conversation about AME as well. So you're already getting some good recognition. And if anybody's in the Georgia area and interested, Troy has well, I don't know if this is still the case. So I put it out there, and you correct me if I'm wrong about Troy has extended a welcome to actually come in, have you guys come in and visit the plant, see what they're up to. They've implemented the TV screens. They've done tablets. They've gone all the way tech for a 100-person plant. That's pretty advanced for an investment in continuous improvement. So I think that says a lot.
I'm a big believer in these benchmarking visits. Obviously right now with COVID and things, a lot of that's been put on hold somewhat. But I think it's no secret that I've done a ton of benchmarking visits to other local manufacturers, both in this industry and outside of it. I've visited some of the local hospitals, a brewery that was mostly business, and then a few other manufacturers, both in and out of the food industry. And I am not. I have no problem stealing shamelessly from when they have a great idea.
Yeah,
and
right.
A lot of them have.
Smart man.
I think you have to. And they, there's been some people who are very, very welcoming. And as you see best practice at somewhere else, it really allows you to kind of take a very objective look at the things you're doing in-house and say, okay,
good.
There are people who are doing this much better than we are. Why? And how are they doing it? And can we adapt that to be beneficial here? And sometimes you can't, but sometimes you absolutely can.
Yeah. Now, if you guys want to meet Troy or myself in person, we've actually been invited to speak at the Industry Week conference in December. That's going to be in Orlando, Florida. I think it's like December 3rd, first week in December, sounds like.
I believe so. 2nd and 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. 2nd
and 3rd. Hopefully we're not speaking to an empty room. I'm definitely going to be there. I just hope other humans are there too. So that would be nice. And also we're going to be at Katacon 7 in Jekyll Island. And I believe that's the first or second week in March of
March
next year.
21st, I believe.
Okay. March 21st. Yeah. Good. Thank you, Troy. So, yeah, congratulations for that. Those are big. Like I say, for a plant the size, 100-person, 80 to 100-person plant, two main production lines. You guys have a really world-class continuous improvement program. You guys have really, really advanced to a level of really engaging everybody every day in continuous improvement. I don't know if you've already hit that utopian state, but I would say your progress in that direction has been pretty remarkable in the last year.
We're still evolving, and I think we probably always will be, but we're really working hard to do that. The idea is that we want to do what we can to support our customers, and we have to then by doing that we have to support sales, we have to support some of the other things going on, and research and development that are key for us. But we want to make sure that what our customers need, we are. And we do that by improving.
Good. Excellent. So, okay. Like I said, so Troy, what would, if people want to get a hold of you and ask you questions and learn more about what you're up to and get ideas, advice from you, that kind of thing, what would be the best way for people to contact you?
I obviously have LinkedIn. I think you linked to mine on there. They're welcome to message me through there. Or if you want to drop my email in the comments for everybody to see, I respond to all those pretty quickly. Good.
Excellent. Appreciate you being so open and willing to help, answer questions and help people on their journeys as well. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's all our time. Actually, we went a little over, but we started a couple of minutes late here. Due to some tech issues. It ain't official if there's no tech issues, so it's now official. This is a recording. We're going to post it on the Impruver.com website under webcasts, under education webcasts, so it should be there if you guys want to retrieve this for whatever reason. And that's the end of the show for today. Troy, thanks again for joining me. This was fantastic, and let's do it again soon. Let's do something soon. Have a good weekend.
Have a good day, everybody.